Grimm's Complete Fairy Tales, The Brothers Grimm. The Golden Bird. In olden times, there was a king who had behind his palace a beautiful garden in which there was a tree that bore golden apples. When the apples were getting ripe, they were counted, but on the very next morning one was missing. This was told to the king, and he ordered that a watch should be kept every night beneath the tree. The king had 3 sons, the eldest of whom he sent, as soon as night came on, into the garden. But when midnight came, he could not keep himself from sleeping, and next morning, again, an apple was gone. The following night, the second son had to keep watch. It fared no better with him. As soon as 12 o'clock had struck, he fell asleep, and in the morning an apple was gone. Now it came to the turn of the third son to watch, and he was quite ready. But the king had not much trust in him, and thought he would be of less use even than his brothers. But at last he let him go. The youth lay down beside the tree, but kept awake, and did not let sleep master him. When it struck 12, something rustled through the air, and in the moonlight he saw a bird coming, whose feathers were all shining with gold. The bird alighted on the tree, and had just plucked off an apple, when the youth shot an arrow at him. The bird flew off, but the arrow had struck his plumage, and one of his golden feathers fell down. The youth picked it up, and the next morning took it to the king, and told him what he had seen the night. The king called his council together, and everyone declared that a feather like this was worth more than the whole kingdom. "If the feather is so precious," declared the king, "one alone will not do it for me. I must and will have the whole bird." The eldest son set out. He trusted to his cleverness, and thought he would easily find the golden bird. When he had gone some distance, he saw a fox sitting at the edge of the wood. So he cocked his gun and took aim at him. The fox cried, "Do not shoot me. In return, I will give you some good counsel. You are on the way to the golden bird, and this evening you will come to a village in which stands 2 inns opposite to one another. One of them is lighted up brightly, and goes on merrily within. But do not go into it. Go rather into the other, even though it seems a bad one." "How can such a silly beast give wise advice?" thought the king's son, and he pulled the trigger. But he missed the fox, who stretched out his tail and ran quickly into the wood. So he pursued his way, and by evening came to the village where the 2 inns were. In one they were singing and dancing. The other had a poor, miserable look. "I should be a fool indeed," he thought, "if I were to go into the shabby tavern and pass by the good one." So he went into the cheerful one, lived there in riot and revel, and forgot the bird and his father and all his good counsels. When some time had passed, the eldest son, for month after month, did not come back home. The second set out, wishing to find the golden bird. The fox met him as he had met the eldest, and gave him the good advice, of which he took no heed. He came to the 2 inns, and his brother was standing at the window of one of them, from which came the music, and called out to him. He could not resist, but he went inside and lived only for pleasure. Again, some time passed. Then the king's youngest son wanted to set off and try his luck, but his father would not allow it. "It is of no use," said he. "He will find the golden bird no better than his brothers, and if a mishap were to befall him, he knows not how to help himself. He is a little wanting at best." But at last he had no peace. He let him go. Again, the fox was sitting outside the wood, and begged for his life, and offered his good advice. The youth was good-natured, and said, "Be easy, little fox. I will do you no harm." "You shall not repent it," answered the fox. "And as you may get on more quickly, get up behind on my tail." And scarcely had he seated himself when the fox began to run, and away he went over stock and stone, till his hair whistled in the wind. When they came to the village, the youth got off. He followed the good advice, and without looking round, turned into the little inn where he spent the night quietly. The next morning, as soon as he got into the open country, there sat the fox already, and said, "I will tell you farther what you have to do. Go on quite straight, and at last you will come to a castle, in front of which a whole regiment of soldiers is lying. But do not trouble yourself about them, for they will all be asleep and snoring. Go through the midst of them straight into the castle, and go through all the rooms, till at last you will come to a chamber where the golden bird is hanging in a wooden cage. Close by there stands an empty golden cage for show, but beware of taking the bird out of the common cage and putting it into the fine one, or it may go badly for you." With these words, the fox again stretched out his tail, and the king's son seated himself upon it, and away he went over stock and stone till his hair whistled in the wind. When he came to the castle, he found everything as the fox had said. The king's son went into the chamber where the golden bird was shut up in a wooden cage, while a golden one stood by, and the 3 golden apples lay about the room. But, thought he, it would be absurd if I were to leave the beautiful bird in the common and ugly cage. So he opened the door, laid hold of it, and put it into the golden cage. But at the same moment, the bird uttered a shrill cry. The soldiers awoke, rushed in, and took him off to prison. The next morning, he was taken before a court of justice, and as he confessed everything, he was sentenced to death. The king, however, said he would grant him his life on one condition, namely, if he brought him the golden horse which ran faster than the wind, and in that case he should receive over and above, as a reward, the golden bird. The king's son set off, but he sighed and was sorrowful, for how was he to find the golden horse? But all at once he saw his old friend the fox sitting on the road. "Look," said the fox, "this has happened because you did not give heed to me. However, be of good courage. I will give you my help and tell you how to get the golden horse. You must go straight on, and you will come to a castle, where in the stable stands the horse. The grooms will be lying in front of the stable, but they will be asleep and snoring, so you can quietly lead out the golden horse. But of one thing you must take heed. Put on him the common saddle of wood and leather, not the golden one which hangs close by, or else it will go badly for you." Then the fox stretched out his tail. The king's son seated himself upon it, and away he went over stock and stone until his hair whistled in the wind. Everything happened just as the fox had said. The prince came to the stable in which the golden horse was standing. But just as he was going to put the common saddle upon him, he thought, "It would be a shame to such a beautiful beast if I do not give him the golden saddle which belongs to him by right." But scarcely had the golden saddle touched the horse than he began to neigh loudly. The grooms awoke, seized the youth, and threw him into prison. The next morning he was sentenced by the court to death, but the king promised to grant him his life, and the golden horse as well, if he could bring back the beautiful princess from the golden castle. With a heavy heart, the youth set out, yet luckily for him, he soon found the trusty fox. "I ought only to leave you to your bad luck," said the fox, "but I pity you, and will help you once more out of your trouble. This road takes you straight to the golden castle. You will reach it by evening, and at night, when everything is quiet, the beautiful princess goes to the bathing house to bathe. When she enters it, run up to her and give her a kiss. Then she will follow you. You can take her away with you. Only do not allow her to take leave of her parents first, or it will go badly for you." Then the fox stretched out his tail. The king's son seated himself upon it, and away the fox went over stock and stone till his hair whistled in the wind. When he reached the golden castle, it was just as the fox had said. He waited until midnight, when everything lay in deep sleep, and the beautiful princess was going into the bathing house, and he sprang out and gave her a kiss. She said that she would like to go with him, but she asked him pitifully and with tears to allow her to take leave of her parents. At first he withstood her prayer, but when she wept more and more and fell at his feet, he at last gave in. But no sooner had the maiden reached the bedside of her father than he and all the rest in the castle awoke, and the youth was laid hold of and put into prison. The next morning the king said to him, "Your life is forfeited, and you can only find mercy if you take away the hill which stands in front of my windows and prevents me from seeing beyond it. You must finish it all within 8 days. If you do that, you shall have my daughter as your reward." The king's son began and dug and shoveled without leaving off, but when after 7 days he saw how little he had done and how all his work was as good for nothing, he fell into a great sorrow and gave up all hope. But on the evening of the 7th day, the fox appeared and said, "You do not deserve that I should take any trouble for you. But just go away, lie down to sleep, and I will do the work for you." The next morning, when he awoke and looked out of the window, the hill had gone. The youth ran, full of joy, to the king and told him that the task was fulfilled, and whether he liked it or not, the king had to hold his word and give him his daughter. So the two set forth together, and it was not long before the trusty fox came up with them. "You have certainly got what is best," said he, "but the golden horse also belongs to the maiden of the golden castle." "How shall I get it?" asked the youth. "That I will tell you," answered the fox. "First, take the beautiful maiden to the king who sent you to the golden castle. There will be unheard of rejoicing. They will gladly give you the golden horse and will bring it out to you. Mount it as soon as possible and offer your hand to all in farewell, last of all to the beautiful maiden. And as soon as you have taken her hand, swing her up on the horse and gallop away, and no one will be able to bring you back, for the horse runs faster than the wind." All was carried out successfully, and the king's son carried off the beautiful princess on the golden horse. The fox did not remain behind, and he said to the youth, "Now I will help you get the golden bird. When you come near the castle where the golden bird is to be found, let the maiden get down, and I will take her into my care. Then ride with the golden horse into the castle yard. There will be great rejoicing at this sight, and they will bring out the golden bird for you. As soon as you have the cage in your hand, gallop back to us and take away the maiden again." When the plan had succeeded, the king's son was about to ride home with his treasures. The fox said, "Now you shall reward me for my help." "What do you require for it?" asked the youth. "When you get into the wood yonder, shoot me dead, chop off my head and feet." "That would be a fine gratitude," said the king's son. "I cannot possibly do that for you." The fox said, "If you will not do it, I must leave you. But before I go away, I'll give you a piece of good advice. Be careful about 2 things. Buy no gallows flesh, and do not sit at the edge of any well." And then he ran straight into the wood. The youth thought, "That is a wonderful beast. He has strange whims. Who is going to buy gallows flesh? And the desire to sit at the edge of the wells never yet seized me." He rode on with the beautiful maiden, and his road took him again through the village in which his 2 brothers had remained. There was a great stir and noise, and when he asked what was going on, he was told that 2 men were to be hanged. And he came near to the place. He saw that they were his brothers, who had been playing all kinds of wicked pranks and had squandered all their wealth. He inquired whether they could not be set free. "If you will pay for them," answered the people. "But why should you waste your money on wicked men and buy them free?" He did not think twice about it, but paid for them. And when they were set free, they all went on their way together. They came to the wood where the fox had first met them, and as it was cool and pleasant there, the two brothers said, "Let us rest a little by the well and eat and drink." He agreed, and while they were talking, he forgot himself and sat upon the edge of the well without thinking of any evil. But the two brothers threw him backwards into the well, took the maiden, the horse, and the bird, and went home to their father. "Here we bring you not only the golden bird," said they, "we have won the golden horse also, and the maiden from the golden castle." Then was there a great joy. But the horse would not eat, the bird would not sing, and the maiden sat and wept. But the youngest brother was not dead. By good fortune the well was dry, and he fell upon soft moss without being hurt. But he could not get out again. Even in this strait, the faithful fox did not leave him. It came and leapt down to him, and upbraided for him, having forgotten its advice. "But yet I cannot give it up so," he said. "I will help you up again into daylight." He bade him grasp his tail and keep tight hold of it, and then he pulled him up. "You are not out of danger yet," said the fox. "Your brothers were not sure of your death, and have surrounded the wood with watchers who are to kill you if you let yourself be seen." But a poor man was sitting on the road, with whom the youth exchanged clothes, and in this way he got to the king's palace. No one knew him, but the bird began to sing, the horse began to eat, and the beautiful maiden left off weeping. The king, astonished, asked, "What does this mean?" Then the maiden said, "I do not know, but I have been so sorrowful, and now I am so happy. I feel as if my true bridegroom has come." She told him all that had happened, although the other older brothers had threatened her with death if she were to betray anything. The king commanded that all people were to be sent to the castle and should be brought before him. And amongst them came the youth in his ragged clothes, but the maiden knew him at once and fell upon his neck. The wicked brothers were seized and put to death, but he was married to the beautiful maiden and declared heir to the king. But how did it fare with the poor fox? Long afterwards, the king's son was once again walking into the wood, when the fox met him and said, "You have everything now that you can wish for, but there is never an end to my misery, and yet it is in your power to set me free." And again he asked him with tears to shoot him dead and chop off his head and feet. So he did it, and scarcely was it done when the fox was changed into a man, and was no other than the brother of the beautiful princess, who at last was freed from the magic charm which had been placed upon him, and now they never lacked in happiness as long as they lived.